What's up, dude? Living here in Austin, Texas, I've developed a serious appreciation of smoked meats. And arguably, this area does it better than anywhere in the world. Having said that, when it comes to making great barbecue at home, I'm not waiting 14 hours for a brisket. I've done it in the past, it's amazing, it's delicious, but it's just too much work. Having said that, smoking meat at home using the hot and fast method has seriously changed my life when it comes to barbecue. So in that spirit, here are 3 absolutely incredible smoked meats you can make in all under 1 hour. Now let's go! Now the first meat I love smoking hot and fast is chicken wings. For me, this is just one of the best ways you could ever cook a chicken wing. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love fried chicken wings, but these for me, I think have really taken the cake. And if you have the foresight, soaking these chicken wings in buttermilk for a day can really do them a ton of good in the tenderness department. But I mean, the whole point of this video is that we're doing things quickly, right? So I'm not gonna do that today, but it is a good idea. And in regards to the seasoning, you can do it however you like. I'm gonna be using an all-purpose barbecue rub. Here's how you make it. And all you need to do is combine 1/2 cup brown sugar, 1/2 cup white sugar, 6 tablespoons paprika, 2 teaspoon ground ginger, 2 tablespoon onion powder, 1 tablespoon garlic powder, 1 tablespoon chipotle powder, 1 tablespoon ground mustard, and 1 tablespoon of pepper. Just give that all a really good mix and your spice rub is done. And you may have noticed I didn't put any salt in that barbecue rub. That's because I really like to see how much salt I'm putting on my meat, and when it's in the rub, it's really hard to tell, right? Of course, you can put it in the rub, but I think doing it this way just makes a lot more sense to me, at least. And I know a lot of barbecue pit masters would agree on that one. So I'm just gonna season these up to my liking. And then I'll just go ahead and apply my barbecue rub. Nothing too fancy. Get a nice spread on there. And I like to be pretty liberal with this stuff. Give them a quick flip and do the same on the other side. Quick little toss and we are good to go. Now in terms of how you smoke these, of course you could use a pellet smoker like a Traeger, but when it comes to those, it's really about the pellets you buy. So dig into that, do some research if you have a pellet smoker, because that can make a world of difference. Having said that, for the last few years, I've been using this smoker slash grill from S&S Grills, and it really does a fantastic job. I absolutely love this thing. I'll put a link for it down in the description if you want to check it out. And living here in Austin, Texas, I've recently discovered post oak as a type of wood for smoking, and to me this sort of mimics the flavor from Terry Black's. I don't know if they actually use post oak, but I get that same kind of taste. And as I'm no expert on smoking, I also combine the post oak with this big log charcoal. It just burns way longer and way more consistently than regular charcoal, so I highly recommend it. I'll put a link for that also in the description. And all I do when I'm smoking hot and fast is lay down a big layer of this log charcoal before setting a bunch of that post oak on top. And to start the fire, you can always use one of those chimneys, but I have this grill gun that puts out an absolutely insane level of powerful flame. And then all I'll do is take about 1 minute and hit this from a few different angles at full power, and that will be enough to get this fire started. And in the spirit of cool smoking channels, here is some rock music while you watch the B-roll. Another tip I have for you is to really let that fire burn down for about 20 minutes. You can't just start a massive fire and start smoking on it right away. You need to get that clean smoke first. Because if you look out at your smoker and it's just billowing with white, thick smoke, that is not the smoke you want to make great smoked meats, right? You want this clean, almost invisible, lightly blue smoke. And so once that smoke is clean and you're hitting a temperature of about 350 degrees Fahrenheit, you can go ahead and drop down your wings. And how long these wings take really depends on how big the wings are. I have these massive jumbo wings, so they took actually 50 minutes. That's 50 minutes. But if you're using really small wings, they could take as little as 30 minutes to cook, or anywhere from 30 to 45. And it's not totally necessary, but if you do have the time, I like to flip these wings over halfway through cooking to make sure they get a really nice even cook. And that's all she wrote, my friends. These wings look absolutely delicious. Let's take them inside and give them a taste with Marcus. Okay, first things first. Burgundy turtleneck, nice. Now, if you ask me, that looks like the perfect wing. I don't know, man. It just looks good. What can I say? Here's a close-up. Yes, go for a drum. In the comments, chime in flats or drums. I'm team flats all the way. Marcus, what are you? What team are you on?
I probably like flats better. I like chicken wings.
You know why though? Check it out. You go like that, push it down. You see this, you guys? You just push all the meat to one side and clear it.
It's disgusting. Guys always have these weird chicken wing gymnastics that they do, and they're like, check this out, and then they just jam their hand in it, and they're like, look, check it out. Look how easily all the meat comes off the...
This guy's talking about weird stuff. He's wearing a burgundy turtleneck. You know what I'm saying? I did tell him to put it on before the shot. He didn't even want to do it.
I just use it like this.
Can't napkin on it.
It's the best way to eat a drum.
Anyway, the wings, great seasoning, great bark. It's crunchy, the fat is rendered, the meat itself is nice and tender. It's got that smoky flavor. Man, it's just a good freaking wing.
If you're not gonna deep fry wings, there's no reason to not do them like this.
Also, in the description under this video, I'll put a link to a recipe where I have a buffalo sauce for this, and blue cheese and ranch, all that stuff, if you wanna go all out. Now, before the next recipe, one of the things I miss most about being a kid is enjoying cereal. I really did love cereal. And back then, I didn't just have it for breakfast. I would eat it for lunch, I would eat it at night, I would eat it whenever I was hungry. I just freaking love cereal. But unfortunately, on becoming an adult, you sort of realize that cereal is just a big bowl of toxic, crunchy sugar. It's not exactly the fuel you need to get through the day. And that's where the sponsor of today's video, Magic Spoon, comes in, because this is cereal with grown-up ingredients. It's packed with protein, has 0 sugar, and is perfect for keeping your carbs in check. It's filling, it tastes awesome, and it doesn't feel like you're having dessert first thing in the morning. My personal favorite flavors are fruity and frosted. And every time I pour myself a serving, knowing it has 13 to 14 grams of protein, 0 sugar, and 4 to 5 net carbs just makes me feel really good about eating it. And if you love snacks on the go, Magic Spoon also makes these crispy treats that are kind of like cereal bars, but just way better. And I've grown quite fond of the marshmallow one. It is very tasty. And Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed with a 100% happiness guarantee online. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Just click the link down in the description and use code ThatDudeCanCook, or scan the QR code on screen to save $5 off Magic Spoon cereal or treats today. You can also find Magic Spoon on Amazon or in your nearest grocery store. Thank you, Magic Spoon, for sponsoring this video. Now let's get back to the recipe. Now, the second item that is so good smoked hot and fast is picanha. Shout out Guga, let's do it. And this is honestly such an amazing cut for hot and fast smoking because of this insane layer of fat that covers this one side. And because the heat's gonna be so high on our smoker, all that fat is gonna render out so nicely and sort of base that meat as it cooks. It's a beautiful thing. And sometimes I won't trim that fat at all, but you can see this one is kind of stained by the blood. I don't really like that. And so what I'm gonna do is just take my little slicer here and just sort of get off this outer layer of fat. It's gonna help it render down a bit more and not have too much excessive fat going on. And because it's got that one flat side, I can actually just stand it up and just slice down a bit like this. Makes it much easier. Just one little layer of fat coming off, only takes a second. The next thing I like to do is just score into the fat, just a slight little bit like this, all the way down. And what we're gonna do is make all these little diamond squares across the top of this picanha fat. And as this cooks in the smoker, these little pieces of fat are gonna kind of separate and get really crispy. It's gonna help it render. It looks cool, and it's just a nice thing to do. It takes 10 seconds, so why not do it? For the seasoning, I'm gonna be using rosemary salt. If you know, you know, and if you don't know how to make this, it's super, super easy. Here's how you do it. And it's really easy to do. I will put the recipe down in the description. I'll also put a gram weighted version if you're watching from across the pond, but you just take kosher salt, then add a whole bunch of fresh stripped rosemary and sage, along with a little bit of fresh garlic and lemon zest, all in a food processor, and then blend it up for about 1 minute. And what you're left with is this absolutely aromatic, herbaceous, green, sandy, beautiful, amazing seasoning that goes good on so many things. Just read the comments below this video and you will see what I mean. So we'll give this a really good seasoning. It's a pretty thick piece of meat. Dip up all that stuff as I flip it over, and we'll just do the other side. It can go pretty heavy. Although if this was a thin steak, right, I would not be doing this much. And a little Sergeant Gilbert reporting for duty. That's black pepper. And for smoking, I actually like to leave this pepper on the coarser side. I like to see these kind of bigger chunks. And that's because those big chunks actually help pull smoke, man. They grab the smoke. They're like little smoke catchers. So you don't want to go too fine with this. If it was a steak, I'd be doing it a lot finer. Of course, on both sides, you want to do that. And for the picanha, we're also just smoking it at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And this just took a total of 45 minutes. It shrinks a lot when it cooks and it gets a lot taller, so it takes a little bit of time. But the beauty of smoking this cut hot and fast is that fat cap on top just renders out really nicely and sort of self-base the steak as it cooks. It's a beautiful thing. And I actually have a separate picanha video where I cooked it in the oven, and when you do it that way, those little squares and diamonds are much more pronounced. I'll put a link to that recipe down in the description if you want to try it because you don't have a smoker. And another pro tip I have for you is to let this rest so much longer than you think. If you think it's good after 10 minutes, trust me, it's not. Because there are certain cuts of meat, flat iron would be another one, that just need to rest longer. I rested this for 25 minutes and it was still dripping out a lot of that juice. But the results speak for themselves here. I pulled this at 128 internal, and you have the most amazing piece of meat. That little crispy piece of fat on top just makes every bite pure freaking heaven. My God, that looks good. I mean, the way it's dripping after that much resting is insane. I like to cut it like this so I get a little piece of that fat with every bite. Bon appetit. Bro,
It's meat day.
if you're watching this video right now and you still haven't tried picanha, you're still sleeping on it, like, bro, it's cheaper than most like expensive steaks, ribeyes, New York's, filet, all that stuff. And to me, that's just as enjoyable, man. That fat is so rendered, it like explodes in your mouth. It's so good.
We got really tender piece today too. That's one of the most tender piece picanha I've had.
Woo! Just make sure you rest it way longer than you think. Also, the next day, when you cool it down and you slice it thin with like a nice slicer knife like this, it's the best roast beef you'll ever try. I swear to God, I almost like it better cold the next day. It's insanely good.
It's really tender. The nice little fat cap just kind of like,
That makes it, I think.
it's like a sauce on the steak. It's literally like a little gelatin exploding butter packet.
Like if you were to go to a restaurant or whatever and get served this, you would remember that for a while.
Probably easier to do than searing a steak then too, right?
What did I do? I didn't do anything. I made a fire.
You just throw salt on and set it outside and come back.
Woo!
You got a little meat gem.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta make this.
Make it. And the third and final item I love to smoke hot and fast, and this one is my favorite, lamb rack. My friends, there is just something about the strong flavor of lamb that goes so good with this strong flavor of smoke, and especially post oak. In my view, it truly is one of the best meat experiences you can have. Let me show you how I season it. Now, first of all, you may notice that there's this silver skin on the lamb right here. If you don't know what silver skin is, it's basically this sort of, I guess, sinew. It's kind of tough and chewy. And in restaurants, they're always gonna cut this out, but honestly, when I'm smoking lamb racks at home, I just don't do it. Do you know what I mean? I'm trying to do this hot and fast, so I don't want extra work, but if you wanna do it, you can just sort of slip your knife under. You wanna be sort of pushing up, right? You see how I'm under that silver skin right there? And then I'm gonna pull slightly that way while tilting the knife slightly up, right? Not too much where I break through, but just a little angle, so it just catches that silver skin like this. And then I can take that same piece and do the same thing the other way, which gets that out. But again, I mean, you can totally skip this. There are benefits to this. It's gonna take on more smoke flavor now that that's all exposed, but honestly, you really don't need to. And just like that picanha, I also like scoring the fat on this lamb. I just love the way it looks. I love the way it renders that fat more easily, and I think it gets you a crispier situation. Also lets in the seasoning, also lets in the smoke. Also, it looks awesome, and it's fun to do. I mean, how can we argue with that? What I like to do first is brush this with Dijon mustard. Just this little layer of flavor and salt and a touch of spice. You won't even really notice it when it's done, but it'll just taste freaking amazing. Doesn't take much. It's also gonna really help that seasoning stick and help us form a good bark, like a binder. And obviously in the world of barbecue, people use mustard all the time as a binder. I do get a little bit down here as well, and on the sides, just like so. The next spice I like is just a touch of coriander and a touch of cumin. Of course, you can use ground if you like, but I like these whole ones. And we'll just give these a sort of coarser grind here. And I'll just apply a nice light layer. This is definitely optional, but these spices go so good with lamb, coriander, and cumin. Blast that other side a little bit. And then again, with the rosemary salt, if you know, you know. You probably do now because you just learned how to make it. Of course, you could use another seasoning, but rosemary, sage, garlic, all goes great with lamb. Just hit both sides. And that's our lamb rack ready to smoke. And again, we just smoked this lamb rack at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and it took a total of 30 minutes. And I highly recommend you pull this at about 130 degrees Fahrenheit, so it will carry up to medium and not medium rare. The thing is, all different meat has different sweet spots where they're the most tender, and for lamb rack, medium is just perfect. A nice rosy pink throughout is where it's most tender. And after a good 15-minute rest, it was time to slice up this lamb and give it a taste with Marcus. My God, I was just literally salivating while I was slicing this up. Is there anything better than a smoked lamb rack? My friends, this is it. This is the one meat. It's the best. If you've never tried this, please, for the love of God, try it at least once. All right, here we go. Marcus, have you had smoked lamb rack?
Not fresh. Nice
For real?
turtleneck.
Oh, thanks, man. Cheers. Oh, God. Oh, I love this. Oh, hear me out, dude. This bite right here, where the meat meets the fat, right around there, try that, dude. Yeah, hit it.
I don't know how much meat this is in ounces, but could very easily eat 17 of these.
Hold on, Marcus. I gotta be alone with this thing, dude.
I know he just rubbed lame on his forehead, all the way down his eyebrows, his nose.
I did.
I mean, this thing is wet and juicy.
Dude, the mustard, the rosemary salt, the coriander, the cumin, the pepper, I mean, the smoke. Seriously, it's one of the best pieces of meat you can eat. I don't know, what do you think, Marcus? You never tried one before.
It's as tender as filet. It's so tender. Like whenever we buy ribeyes, anything like that, no matter how good of the cut is, they're not as tender as this. The only thing has been filet. If you like beef, you will love this. It's so good.
And a lot of people find lamb like too gamey tasting, but somehow the smoke eases that. It's like these two strong flavors come together, and I don't know, man. It's lamb and smoke. It's
There's
just
nothing offensive about this.
two peas in a pod, dude.
It's not gamey at all. This is so good.
Thanks for watching today, my friend. If you happen to be a fan of written recipes, definitely check out my Master in the Making ebook. I'll link that down in the description. It has 55 of my personal favorite recipes. They're all winners. Also, don't forget to follow the gaming channel that will be linked in the description. Push us to 10K. We are so close. I would love to see you over there. And as promised, here is that chicken wing video that has the sauce, the blue cheese, the dressings, the ranch, all that stuff if you want to go all out on the wings. And then over here is some incredible pork shoulder. There was one trick in there that forever changed the way I made pulled pork. Otherwise, I will see you next time. You know I love you, and I'm out.